guys! Oh, I'm so excited to see you all. Thank you all for coming today. As you may already know, I am one of your MapleStory community managers, Ezrerbel. So we're going to be doing some pretty fun stuff today. I'm actually a bit excited. I think this is going to be a fun opportunity to teach some of you that might be new to Maple, or if you're new, if you have a friend that you're trying to get into Maple, and they're new and they're really confused and maybe they don't understand some guides or they just don't know where to look, maybe you can send them this Twitch VOD and be like, hey, like one of our community managers did a little introduction to, you know, maybe playing MapleStory, and this might be beneficial to you and help you, so share it with your friends if it helps them. And also, the biggest, most important thing is I've learned all of this from you guys. Like, all this stuff that I'm learning today, or that I'm sharing today, is stuff that I've learned because the community, resources online, talking to people, guide links, whatever it may be, you guys have helped me learn how to play this game, and I've fallen in love with it. And I want to share that with other people. This could hopefully be something y'all can share with your friends if you want to help them get into Maple. And yeah, so we're going to be on test server today, and I'm just going to be going over some like intro stuff as if someone was just playing Maple and they were getting started. But let me do note that this will be a reboot server based guide. I will make a few comments about regular server, but since I primarily have learned and played reboot, it's going to be reboot. So we're just going to go ahead and transition right into our game here. First biggest thing is you need to choose a server. That's really important. So if you have friends already, you're gonna most likely go with your friends, which is great. You want to, I promise you. My biggest recommendation that I've seen, not only from myself, but other people in the community, is you're gonna wanna play with your friends, despite the server that they may be on, because this game will definitely feel really close to home with friends. And it's gonna keep you going. Definitely go to the server with your friends, but there are some big substantial differences that you should be aware of with regular server and reboot server that are pretty big. Reboot server is going to not have access to trading, so we won't have an auction house, and you cannot trade with other players, and loot's gonna work a little bit differently, and XP is gonna be raised, same with Mesos drop and item drop rate and things like that. It's gonna be a little bit shifted. The best way I can explain it is think of it like Iron Man, like group Iron Man mode. If you know what I'm talking about, you know, but I'd almost say it's like a group Iron Man situation for the whole server. And then with regular server, it's gonna be a lot different. The rates will be different, and then you also have the ability to trade and market. So if you're into like merching and you wanna be on the auction house, big thing is you can't switch gear on reboot. So on your character, you're farming on that character. So it's gonna take a lot of grinding. You can't just be swapping it over to your alts. Unlike if you're on regular server, you can transfer gear to the same classes and things like that. So that's really important to keep in mind. But once you pick a server, then we're good to continue. And as I had mentioned, we're gonna be on reboot for this. The really big thing that I wanna go over is I didn't want this stream to be too much of a guide, because I'm in not the best place, of course, to make guides, but I think I can reiterate this information that's been given to me in terms of link skills and Legion that is extremely important, that every new player should know right off the bat starting MapleStory. Yes, you should play whatever class you want and start and have fun, but if you're thinking about investment and getting serious with your friends, you definitely want to consider Legion. But link skills and Legion are really important, and new players should definitely be aware of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show an Excel sheet on screen here in a moment with some important links. So if, like I said, if you're new, your friends are new, send this to them so that they can see this. This link skill sheet is a little outdated because I couldn't find an Excel version of the updated one. So it doesn't have Kane on it, and I think another class as well too. Boom. So these are a list, little outdated, of link skills that are also extremely, extremely important. And if you don't know, for you new players, link skills, I'm gonna open up the menu on screen on the side here. We're gonna pop it open on the right. So if you go to your very basic tab, your skill tab here, you're gonna have link skill manager. You know, we got our little bit of outdated Excel sheet here, but it's still really important with link skills. So when you level up a character to a certain, like certain brackets, you're going to unlock their link skills at a higher tier, which is extremely important because it's going to give you really, really useful stats. So link skills are extremely important, and the reason why is because they can benefit you in terms of bossing, other areas of the game. Leveling is a really big one, so a lot of people will recommend leveling certain characters to make leveling a bit easier, like the Mercedes for the XP buff, or for Evan for rune duration, things like that. There's tons of recommendations. I don't think there's a wrong way to go about it. There's definitely a ton of information on link skills, and it's a lot to cover, so we're not gonna dive too much into it. There are some amazing, you know, a lot of you awesome creators out there that have explained these things very in depth, and have given really good recommendations, but this is just something I wanted to bring to attention to those that are new, that, you know, you'll acquire these link skills from leveling alts on top of Legion, which Legion we'll go into later. The link skills will help you in endgame as well as bossing, leveling, etc. Extremely important. Sometimes it's beneficial just to level a couple link skill alts before leveling your main, but that's going to be completely up to you and how you find it to benefit you. So we're going to move on from links, and then one of the biggest recommendations that I can give is we're going to want to use the Maple guide. So if you go to your hotkeys, you're going to have something called guide. It should be this yellow button. Just hotkey it, make sure it's hotkeyed on your keyboard so you have quick access to it. And it's on L for me, so we're gonna pop open L and we're gonna hit it one more time, and it's gonna open up this contents guide, which is going to show you content unlocks for your area, for your level area, which this is super important. Also, some of the really important storylines, don't worry too much about this. It can get overwhelming. These are really important for unlocking bosses, titles, really, really important mechanics in the game. But starting out, you don't want to stress yourself out with all the extra stuff they're showing off here. This is a nice kind of overview of all the bosses that you'll see like throughout the game in a bit of an order. Not in an order of doing them, but you know, they're kind of ranked oddly difficult-wise. But what you're gonna be focusing on is the level content. So now if you were starting out and like, let's say you just leveled your way to 40, one of the biggest things that I can recommend doing for new players, that you don't need to do this on alts, you know, like if you're just leveling Legion alts, don't worry about it. But if you're new to the game, I would definitely give the Rihanna Strait and the Gold Beach or the Fairy Academy a try on your main character, the first character that you play through, because they do give, you know, a nice accessory, cape, ring, and face mark until you replace them later. It's super, super like basic minimum stuff, but when I was brand new to the game and I didn't understand a lot of stuff and I didn't understand the pathway of gearing, this was a really good, helpful thing. Like the early game quests were nice. They leveled me a little bit and they gave you some good accessories. Yes, and Gold Beach, quick teleport to 6th path. So level 30 theme dungeon is really important, and getting to level 60 is fairly easy. I know I mentioned earlier that there's a lot of really good guides out there, so definitely take advantage of the amazing leveling guides that have already been posted on YouTube and all the other platforms. In this game, there are many different ways to grind. In maps, it's gonna also depend on your class, and a lot of people will go in depth on that and explain, you know, what areas might be best for certain classes. Some are more generic, where it's like anywhere, and then others are gonna be more specific, where it's like, here are some map recognitions for your class because the way that your class mobs. So that's gonna be really, really big, and leveling is gonna be vastly different from everybody. But it is important to know for new players that the game will not rely on questing. It's gonna be mostly mob killing. So going out into a field, finding a map for your level range, and killing monsters. And that's why I was saying, you know, a level guide will be really useful for that because it'll give you some good direction, but also the Maple guide will point you in the right direction for some maps, but I wouldn't always rely on the Maple guide when it comes to map training. I wouldn't personally, but it does recommend theme dungeons that you can do, as well as quest lines at that level bracket, as well as teach you some guide missions for certain mechanics. And tell you what rewards are available. So, you know, Afterlands being available, which is a theme dungeon, which I know can be super frustrating and confusing, but Afterlands, you know, is available and it shows you the rewards for that, for example. And, you know, Rihanna Strait is going to show you the rewards. So Maple Guide is really useful if you're completely new and lost and want to just kind of get an idea of where things are at and kind of what's going on for those level brackets. But in terms of map leveling and mob grinding and stuff like that, definitely do some research. It will help you an absolute ton. Okay, so now that we've gone through that, I'm gonna do a quick explanation of jobs. The majority have their first job at level 30, and then we got second job at level 60, and then fourth job at level 100, and then fifth job for everyone is at 200. Now this is really important because when you open up your skills menu, which is default to K key, so we're gonna hide hyper stuff. Don't worry about hyper stuff right now. So on first job, you'll have skills, and then second job, you'll unlock more skills. Third job, more skills. Fourth job, more skills. But you'll notice you'll have a bunch of extra skill points on the fourth job, which we'll go over that in a moment. Now, fifth job is going to be a little bit more complex because it requires node stones and the V matrix, and this one is very, very in depth. So we're going to kind of glance over this one a bit since we're looking more at beginners, and it will be a little while before you probably hit your first 200 if you're brand new. So don't worry too much about that, but there's also plenty of really useful guides out there for things such as the V matrix. And then once you're also 140, you're going to unlock your hyper skills, which are going to be active and passive. So passive is going to give you passive buffs, but you're only given a certain number of hyper points for those passive skills. So do them wisely. This gives you a little bit of a building with your character in some way in your class. So also more research might help you here too for choosing. And then we have active skills as well here too. You'll be able to pick up all 3 actives, but then only a certain amount of passives. Now, since this is a reboot-orientated guide, so reboot specifically, there's something really important to show off here with our general store, because this is where you're going to be getting access to mastery books. So we're going to go into the general shop here and the merchant. So mastery books. Now, mastery books are how you actually complete leveling up your 4th job skills. So you want to do that. That's really important. So all you have to do is buy mastery 20 books and mastery 30 books. Here, we'll just buy some really quick just for demonstration. So you would buy some books. All right, so we're going to start with the mastery 20s, and then it's going to tell you a skill that you want to bump from 10 to 20. We'll do cleave. Now, cleave can go up to 20 skill points. Boom. Now, we have mastery book 30s, which is going to bump cleave up to 30. And boom. And this is only 4th job stuff. Mastery books are super, super important. You want to make sure that you do those for your 4th job skills once you get to that point. And remember, 4th job is level 100, 2nd job 60, and then 1st job at 30. Yes, Leafre is actually a really important city for a lot of reasons. It's my favorite. I absolutely love it. Here's a little tip if you're new. Leafre, really nice. There is a storage keeper right here, like immediately right here. And another big thing to mention, since we're on reboot, methods of transportation. There are so many different nice techniques. I know that you can use MapleStory as an easy portal as well too. You can use Golden Beach for 6-way path crossway. But in the reboot shop, you can go to the cash shop and you can actually purchase hyper teleport rocks. Hyper teleport rocks are super duper useful because what they do is they allow you to go to a map space like this, double click and teleport. Rocks, rocks, rocks. They're super, super important. If you're a new player, they're cheap, and while you're on reboot, you can purchase them with Mesos pretty cheaply. So when you make a couple mil Mesos and get started, buy a teleport rock. You're gonna save yourself so much time. So much time. There's also a quick move function in any of the major cities worth a taxi if you need to. You can get a taxi entrance to the Dragon Forest, Dragon Nest, as well as the Ardent Mill, which is going to be professions, which is another thing. I wouldn't dabble too much in early game with professions. Personally, you can pick them up, but we're not going to go over professions from starting out new. And then, of course, content transportation and the dimensional mirror, which is really important for accessing content in the game. This dimensional mirror is going to be your best friend. You're going to access many different bosses and contents. I know a lot of you doing Oz. Good luck on all your Oz boxes. I wish you best for Roar 4. Good luck. Keep grinding. But you'll have access to theme dungeons, content, and all sorts of stuff through the dimensional mirror, which is super, super, super handy, but it's not gonna have everything. And for new players, also keep note, if you open your friends list or your party menu, what's my hotkey on? All right, P, you go to bosses. If you have the boss unlocked for the quest, you've done the pre-quest if it needs it, you can open the party menu or the boss menu and choose the boss and click go, and it's gonna teleport you to the boss room. So it's just gonna take you. So we're gonna go to Zakum, boom, we're in Zakum. Like, you can just access any of the bosses that you have access to and have completed the pre-quest for, which a lot of these bosses, if you're new, it can be intimidating because they have pre-quests usually, and they're long sometimes, and they're a chore, but once you get through them, then you're good and you have the boss unlock. So definitely do a little bit of research on unlocking bosses, and if you have a group of friends, you know, they'll help you, we'll help you, anyone can help you. There's a lot of information from MapleStory, but everyone wants to share it, so this is the biggest one. So if you're gonna send this video to anybody that's new to MapleStory, send them this timestamp. I think this portion is really important because this is how upgrading and enhancing works in reboot. So it's extremely important. And gearing. So there are different guides and advices that people give going to 200. A lot of them just say pick up drop gear, penciler gear, like at 140, work on a penciler set until 200, and then go from there. And then there's gear guides for a bunch of stuff, right? So yes, if you're leveling up to like 140, just use dropped gear, whatever's dropped. If there's no events going on, mob dropped gear, use that. Eventually penciler will drop for you. Don't worry about gearing too badly in the early game. When you're brand new to MapleStory, just level, just play the game and have fun. Don't worry too hard about early game gear, but once you get to a point, especially when you're about 200, join a guild. If you don't have a group of friends already, join a guild on reboot. It's extremely important. I will emphasize this. It is important. Please find a guild or a group of people to play with because this game will be a lot easier for you if you have friends, and there's plenty of people that are willing to help. I can promise you that as someone who didn't know anybody, I got a lot of help. Anyone can get a lot of help. I promise you that. So people out there will help you, and it's best to stick together on reboot. I promise you. You'll probably get carried for some bosses until you can solo them, but that's the fun part about reboot. in a way, if that's your thing. You can try to get stronger and have goals to be able to solo those bosses, and then you get to carry people. But this is the important part. We're gonna go over how enhancing works in Reboot. Enhancing is gonna be a lot more simple in Reboot, I'd say, than regular servers, and I'm sure if you disagree, please let me know, but from my experience, it seemed a lot more simple. It's just a bit grindier to get the materials, unfortunately, but what we have is, we're going to have potentials, yes, we're gonna have Starforce, and we're also gonna have flames. We're gonna have those 3 things, and we're gonna go over them individually, okay? So the first one that we should go over is Starforce, because from what I've learned, Starforce gives a good bulk of stats, and you should focus on Starforce, maybe early game, to get that bulk of stats before you stress about potentials. You can go for 6-9% and be okay with that for a while, and then focus really hard on your Starforce, because that's gonna give you really, really big stat gain. So we have some gear, and the way that Starforce works is you're going to take an item, and in your inventory here with your equipment slot, you're going to have a red hammer that says enhance a piece of equipment. We're gonna click that, and it's gonna open an enchant menu. So we place an item to upgrade it. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna drop in our, I didn't mean to equip that. Let's do, for funsies, let's do our, did our CRA home already. We're gonna do our CRA body. Now you're gonna be met with this window. And if you want more information on it, if it doesn't make sense, you can click the little question mark here, and it's going to explain how this works. We do not have scroll enhancement in Reboot. We only have star enhancement, so do not worry about scrolling. And so you would do star enhancement, and it's going to explain the system if you don't understand for whatnot. And then, so what's gonna happen is when you click enhance, you're gonna get a mini game, and it's gonna pop up, and you're gonna try to click the star inside the little box, boom, and it's gonna tell you if you failed and succeeded. Right here in the middle, it's gonna tell you your success chance, as well as your failure chance, and if you're going to keep the item when you lose it. So if you haven't played Maple before and you're new, you get to a point where your items will, what's called boom, which is just explode, and they'll break and you lose them. So you need to pay attention to this indicator here. If the failure says keep, you're okay. You keep the item. If the failure says destroy or, you know, whatnot, whatever the word was again, it blows it up. It booms it. So destroys it. Boom. Keep, drop, and then chance destroy. So we're gonna, here, I'll give you an actual visual example of this because I think I did it on the helm, the CRA helm. There we go. So it'll say failure, drop, chance. So there's a chance the star level will drop, and then there's a 1.3% chance the item will explode or get destroyed. Now, for early star forcing, you can kind of, a lot of people recommend skipping the star catching. You just click disable star catching and you just do this and it would just go. I'm really unlucky. I fail 85%. So, you know, but yeah, so here, we'll give a little bit of an example. Typically higher level for Starforce, you always want to do your star catching because like that's just a free bonus that you don't want to miss. So we dropped a level, see? We dropped a level because we failed. We didn't boom it. We were okay. We succeeded. We succeeded. Okay, okay. All right, Ezra luck right now. Ezra luck. Let's go. Ezra luck, let's go, dude. We just went straight for 15 stars. And now we're at a 2.1% chance of destruction. So this is star forcing. This is really important to get streamer luck. This is really good to get those stats. Stats are really important. All right, so that's the gist of Starforce. From earlier levels, it's pretty easy to do to get Starforce. So I think from what I have been told, knowledge-wise, for you new players, as just a tip, I believe going to 10 star is super, super quick and easy. You don't have to worry too much about that. And then past that is when it starts dropping. So if you have the Mesos and you want to fight with the RNG, go for it. But make sure you have Mesos stockpiled because it takes a lot of Mesos. I promise you, you will burn Mesos like there's no tomorrow. But it is extremely important, as I'd mentioned, for that stat gain. From what I have learned, it is gonna be more important than potentials for a little while. Until you get some decent Starforce gear. But now we're gonna go into potentials. So the way that we get to do potentials on Reboot is we have a few ways. So you're gonna get a piece of gear, right? Let's say you get a clean, solid gold ring. You're lucky, you get carried, you know, or you got enough coin. You got enough coins to buy your solid gold ring. I mean, you got your carries and everything, and it's blank. It's completely like empty. It's naked. There's no potentials on it. So what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna go. All right, this one's gonna be a little bit easier. And so potentials, right? So you get a clean piece of gear and it has no potential on it. You can go to Luna here, which is going to sell silver potential stems. There's other ways to access them on Reboot, but you can get them from the general store. This is our bonus here with Reboot. Okay, we have Master Craftsman cubes, mastery books, rebirth flames, the pot stamps, and things like that available in the general store, which you're just gonna swoop right on in. You're gonna pick up some stamps. So we'll pick up 10. You're gonna have 50% epic pot scrolls or 100% epic pot scrolls. We need to put a pot scroll on a clean item, a naked item. Then the stamp is gonna add a third line. So it's gonna 3-line it if it's not 3-lined already. Now there's multiple ways to get pot scrolls on Reboot that I wanna share for you new players or people that don't know. U Garden is a really important one, so definitely look into U Garden. The Legion Shop, E-Bosses, and then the NPC that shows up in Root Abyss occasionally. Those are some of the ways to get pot scrolls in Reboot, and those are really important because those are something that we really need to get while in Reboot. It's really, really important for us. So if you have a clean naked item, you're gonna want to throw a pot on it first. The pot scroll. Me mixing it up with my silly little stamp over here. So you have 50% and you also have 100. 100 will just be 100% success rate, of course. So boom, we threw a potential on there. Now we're gonna take a stamp and we're gonna stamp it. Let's go slow. Magnifying glass here, right? This is going to discover the potential because it's epic at the moment. Discover, boom. We have 2 lines of potential. And then we're gonna take our silver stamp, which is going to add a 3rd line of potential to the item. So now we have 3 lines of potential, which is really useful because that's more stats. And now we're gonna go over into potential rankings. You're gonna go from epic, unique to legendary, and that's gonna be based on the cubes that you use. So that's also really, really important to keep in mind. And certain cubes can only be up to use to a certain point. So like, for example, occult cubes are super, super, super common in the sense that you get them from drops quite often. A lot of people use occult cubes for Legion mules. It's very easy, but I'm gonna be honest, on your main as well too, if you're focusing on Starforce and you're spending a lot of Mesos on Starforce, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna cube for at least like 6 or 9% for your main stat and just 1-line it. If you can 1-line, so like I'm a Dell, I use strength, right? You know your main stat for your class. My main stat is strength. I'm gonna wanna like roll like a 6% 1-line and you'll be okay. You'll be okay. And then pump that into Starforce, in my opinion, from what I have learned from a lot of people. So the way that we would do this is like, we're just gonna take an occult cube for starters just to show you. So you take the occult cube, you drop it on here, and then it consumes it, and it's gonna roll for new stat lines. And you do one more try. And if you've played a Reboot, you know sitting here sometimes for like 20 minutes just cycling cubes to get like 6% main stat, it's kind of painful. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's not. We got a 3% strength, but you typically, I would say, you know, would want at least a 6% 1-line for main stat. If you get an item that already has a potential, that's good. So for example, we have an item here with the legendary potential. We're gonna uncover it. Boom, legendary potential. And then it's gonna have 2 lines. So of course you're gonna wanna, you know, make sure you throw on your 3rd line. Boom, and then we've got our 3rd line. So we went over how to get pot scrolls, why they're useful, things like that. They're super, super, super duper important. But as I was mentioning, from what I've learned from a lot of you guys in the community, Starforcing in early game is a little bit more of a priority than worrying about your potentials too much. But there are plenty of guides out there that will tell you what you should be looking for when cubing, what kind of cubes. The last thing we need to go over is the type of cubes. While you're playing on the Reboot server, you will have access to red and black cubes in the Meso shop, or the cash shop. You purchase them with Mesos. So that's one way to get them. Occult cubes are gonna be by drops. And then we have Master Craftsman cubes in the shop, which these only go up to unique, by the way. So if you buy these ones, these go up to unique. And then the Meister cubes, which are crafted, go up to legendary. Okay, so we got enhancing with Starforce, we got potentials. You know, you uncover a potential, you add a potential with a potential scroll. You add a 3rd line of potential with stamps. Now for the last one, we're gonna go over flames. Now we have 3 types of flames accessible in Reboot. We have powerful rebirth flames, eternal rebirth flames, and black rebirth flames. Black rebirth flames should come from events. Eternal rebirth flames are gonna come from bosses and events. And then powerful rebirth flames are gonna come from shops, bosses, events, and Legion store as well. So you can buy a powerful rebirth flame here, for example. We'll buy one. Now a rebirth flame is going to add additional bonus stats based off like a calculator. There's resources out there to help you determine good flame stats and things like that. We're not gonna go too in depth on it, but flaming is kind of like a die roll in a way with getting those bonus stats. So you would just, you know, double click your flame, and then you wanna click the item you're gonna flame, which we're gonna apply it to our CRA elm here. Boom, we applied it, and as you can see, the green stat is the bonus stat that was rolled. So, you know, it added, unfortunately, int, luck, max MP, and all stats, but we get what we get. So, you know, you'll be rolling, and then also the flame does matter. Eternal Rebirth flames are gonna have that higher stat bracket. powerful rebirth flames are going to be more limited in terms of the stats. So one really useful thing on reboot is pets. I mean, it's useful on main server too. It doesn't matter where you're playing. Pets are really useful. And what I'd recommend doing, you will get a free snail when starting, and then if you really get invested, snag pets, and you can add pet skills like ignore item skill, expired pickup, auto move, stuff like that. Throw them on the pet. That'll be useful to help you while farming. But it's just something to keep in mind. It's not needed, but it will save you a lot of time in terms of looting. Super important. And there's plenty of ways to get free pets too. Tons of ways, like the Golden Fairy Bros is giving away a pet right now. There's so many methods throughout the game. Hard Hilla, if you kill Hard Hilla, there's a chance that she'll drop a pet as well. So you could do Hard Hilla, you could, get them from events, rewards, free pets all the time. If you don't want to get them from the cash shop, tons of ways to get free pets. Okay, so Legion is really important. Really important. So, oh, I don't have the hotkey on this character. So if you go to this bottom line down here, the menu, which is also really important, you can access all types of stuff like your medals, Legion, Monster Collection, Auction House. Oh, not Auction House on Reboot, but on regular server, yes. And your Maple achievements. You have Legion levels from your alts, and it gets combined into an overall total level, essentially, that will give you bonuses that are extremely important. Like really good stats and bonuses that are needed for a lot of endgame content, even mid-game content. And you pretty much have this grid system, so you'll be assigning your units onto this grid system, and you're playing like kind of like Tetris in a way with it. There are plenty of guides out there to explain how this system works. It's really in depth. It gets bigger, it expands with more characters as your Legion rank goes up. But what you need to know as a new player is that this is really important in the long run. As a new player, the best way to make Mesos. In terms of reboot, I'd say farming. So there's a lot of resources out there to teach you, not necessarily to teach you, but kind of give you ideas of good maps to farm. But essentially, you're just going to be farming Mesos as you're playing the game for quite a while until you reach certain areas. I've been told that there's a lot of good maps in Arcana that are good for farming and beyond, but there's tons of different other ways to farm. But it's mostly just mobbing, and there's a lot of guides out there that will help you because we don't have Auction House, so you can't sell. You do have other things available to you though. Farming is consistent, and then you have things such as like Ursus and MapleStory on a daily basis that you can do, which is really important. So you're gonna have MapleStory here, which is done twice a day. Your payout is at the end of the week, and then Ursus right here, which is also gonna give you some money too that you can do daily. Ursus has a hot time. If you check the Discord, it'll have a timestamp there too for the Ursus hot time to get the most money out of it. But that would be a daily thing, but consistently, you're gonna be farming for Mesos, essentially. Thank you guys so much for showing up today, being a part of this. I know a lot of you maybe aren't new, but remember, send this to your friends if they're new or you wanna get someone to MapleStory and they kinda need some help. This should, hopefully give them an idea, be like, hey, our community manager, Ezrerbel, like, made a video or made a stream. I hope this is useful to some of you or someone out there. Little Ezravert says goodbye and sheesh!